Indian country faces critical problems and long-term challenges. From education for Native youth to protecting the sovereignty of tribal lands, the decisions made today will impact Indian people and their children for years to come. In the 2012 election, the stakes for Native Americans could not be any higher. Voting is the essential way in which citizens speak so that the government hears their voice. Western Native Voice is mobilizing the American Indian vote. We are spearheading a groundbreaking campaign to register and turn out to vote a record number of American Indian voters in Montana for the 2012 election.
It's 2012, and like I was saying, it's the changes that are happening in this world are happening at a rapid rate, and they're going to happen with or without us. And the way that we can be a part of these changes is if we choose to vote, if we choose to raise awareness among our own communities about the importance of voting. And the reasons why I think we should vote is because, it's important that we get the tribal politicians in office that we agree with, because the politicians that have been getting into office aren't necessarily our choice. And it's important that we get out the vote, because we should get senators and state legislators into office that aren't going to use our vote to just do whatever they want, I guess.
There's a lot of housing shortages on reservation and in urban areas. If we don't have the people who advocate for us to get funding or pass policies that are going to allow housing, more development on and off reservations, then we will have less housing and possibly have to pay more for the housing. So that's an example when I go door to door to talk to people on why it's important to vote.
On the Crow Reservation, the unemployment is up to 60 to 70%. I know there are some families, up to 5 families, that live in houses that are only built for one. Some people don't have any jobs, they don't have any money to buy food or the necessities of life, gas, and they all live next to each other. Like I said, some homes there's 5 people crowded into a house. I see that in every district on the reservation.
On a local level, I think that education is really important to Natives. We live in poor communities, small communities. A lot of times our education systems are not good. Teaching at the college here in Crow, I see how poor our local education systems are. And if we don't vote for those people to be on our school boards to give us a voice, then how are we going to improve that situation? Nationally, I think it's important for Natives to vote because we have a lot of federal law, federal issues, treaty rights, sovereignty, all of that kind of stuff that we need to speak out for that. We need to support all of our federal rights. And if we don't vote, how are we going to get people who understand what those rights are?
Young people nowadays, we all go throughout civilization, and we have two, like they always say, we have 2 paths to walk. But the more I started to analyze solutions, the more I started to question the systemic root causes for why our quality of lives are so low, why the statistics are negative in our favor. So I started thinking about that, and the more that I analyzed it, I realized that one of the main solutions as a sovereign nation, the more I started to read about our governments and our tribal constitutions, is that we have a responsibility as sovereign nations to unify together and have a voice in a way that the government requires, which is voting.
there's a lot of Indians, not a lot of natives don't vote. I don't know why. Maybe because it's not to them. Maybe they think it's not important. Because we've been hurt a long time ago. Our lands, they took our lands, our waters, this lake, and things like that. And then they say, why should I vote? And I tell them, your voting is really important. I've been voting all these years, and people, Indian people, just don't care. Seem like to me, But you'll have to find somebody that doesn't vote and say, hey, how come you don't vote?
Natives are severely underrepresented, whether it be in local governments, in schools, and you go to a Native school, you see more white teachers. You go to a city council meeting with half the town is Indian. The city council, there may be one Indian on the city council. So it's really, really, really important for Natives to vote and for Natives to run for office so that they can be that voice for their community. If you don't have that, how are people supposed to know what our issues are?
The number of issues that are important to Natives are numerous and they're broad, and they touch almost every aspect of society, from environmental issues to social issues to the economy, obviously, is a huge one. And as far as why I think it's important for the Native population to weigh in as individuals or as an entire body, I think it's just a chance to speak out and to try to, carve your own place and, establish what's important, and for the powers to be to know that you're also, a force to be reckoned with as well in the voting population.
You never know what could happen, practically, at any time there could probably be some, politician that wants to get in there and, probably wants to get rid of, reservations, get rid of, water rights. Like right now, a big issue here is water rights. Like, our tribe right now is negotiating with the county government here on water rights, and the majority of the county governments here are the farmers. So that's another issue, but why it's important to vote.
The issues that really affect me are schooling and healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most, it's one of the biggest things that's been debated in Native country, and schooling is another thing too. Like public schooling and higher education, those are things that are very important to me.
Well, I think the most important factor for Native Americans to get out and vote is our future. I mean, we need to make sure that the people that are elected speak for us.
Voting seems like we were a people that were repressed from voting in an earlier generation. In this day, it has united us and given us strength.
If you're not voting, look around. Is anyone, yourself, is anyone where they should be, as far as the social climate, the economy, everything? Are we in a good spot, or should we be trying for more? And I think part of that effort is definitely political, and it is very important to become a part of that. That's exactly what tribal means. We come together and we vote, and then we can make decisions that govern ourselves.
Well, voting, as I said, I think that it affects, for instance, it's so important because, we are members of Montana. We are also considered a sovereign nation. But I believe we need good representation in government. As I said again on the previous question, more jobs, more money for so that in the wintertime for propane heat for our houses and the necessities of life. Gas is so expensive, so we need more money so that we can go to work and take care of our families. So that's what I believe. And I believe that Native Americans should vote in the elections and choose the candidate that they feel will represent them. That's what I believe.
Voting is a very important matter because it has like I said, united us, but we are a people recognized for ecological and environmental ideas and movements. And I think that is the most important thing on this planet at this time. And I think that resources related to water, things under the ground that are important to our people, help us to move forward.
Because this reservation here, you know, we've started losing our identity, our voice, our tribe, our you know, there's so many things that we've been losing. Talking Indian. So today I work at Nkusum, and I want that language to be coming back. So some of these days the government will come back and say, they can't come back and say, well, we got no more Indians here. You know, then the voting is important, you know. See, pretty soon we're going to be voting for president, and it's important for me, for my people.
It's important to vote because Indians didn't really get a lot because they never took participation in governing themselves, and so it's important that we get our voice back, I guess, in a way, and we can sway elections, and we can start getting our people in there and being a part of an active democracy. And I think that will help when we're combating these social problems, economic problems, different things like that in Indian country.
You know, you live in the land of the free, and if you pay taxes, and like I said, you should take advantage of all the programs. You should vote for the candidate that will best represent you in Washington or in Helena or here at our tribal government. Again, for houses, money, propane for the house, and gas for your car, and to try to live a good, clean life, live a good life so you can provide for your family. Because I remember my dad said, when you have your own family, you bring them into this world, try to do the best you can for them. You know, keep them warm, especially your children. Keep them fed, food in their stomach, you know, warm it so that in nice clothes. And so I believe that as it is your responsibility as a citizen of the United States to vote. And I believe that we live in the best country in the whole world. And our young men and women die for us. They put everything on the line for us. So I believe that we should vote and take advantage of this freedom that the ultimate sacrifice. I know I speak as my father was a World War II veteran, and my brother was wounded in Vietnam. I had an uncle that served in Korea. I myself am not a veteran, but I believe that I believe voting is very important to the people and the Native American people in general. That's my belief.
I'm an elder. I am 73, and it's really important for me to vote. So, you know, for my tribe, so I could be counted. That's the thing is, it's really important. Even if I don't get the right person in there, at least I got my vote in there, and I got the say in.
Education, that's important for us to develop as individuals, not to mention our tribal nations to develop. Healthcare is extremely important, not to mention economic development. Those are three areas that are important that help tribes and Indians on reservations and in urban areas to be able to have that life that everybody else has.
One of the things that I don't understand is a lot of Indians are paranoid about their government. I don't trust the chairman. I don't trust the president. I don't trust that congressperson. How are you going to get people in there that you trust if you're not out there voting for them, if you're not out there recruiting those people that you trust to be in your government? So if you get to the point where you're not trusting your government, it's up to you as a citizen to change that. And I think American Indians can do that fairly quickly if we just get together and do it.
I don't think that we could have remained the kind of people we have if we had not voted. And I think the voting that has happened in Indian country, our native voices, have been heard, and it has united us.
How else are we going to know who you are? How else are we going to know Indians care about this, Indians care about that? If we don't vote, nobody's going to know. And it's also really important to get Indians to understand that even if you register to vote, they think, well, I don't want to register because then I'll be called for jury duty, or I'll have to do this, or I'll have to do that. But you should be doing those things anyway. You know, if you register to vote, you get called on a jury, that's perfect, because a lot of Indians are charged with crimes more so than non-Indians. So we should have Indians on juries. We should have Indians in the voting booths. We should have Indian election judges. We should have Indian county clerks and Indian, election office administrators, all of that. We should have a huge say in the community that we live in. And, Bighorn County especially is primarily Native American. And some of our government reflects that on the county level, but I think there should be more. And that's why more Indians need to vote.
Back in 1982, we were registering voters at a time when people were not registering voters. We told them that it was their right to vote, and they had all these excuses and other experiences that prevented them from registering, and so we learned that their senators, representatives told them they couldn't vote because they might be serving in a jury pool where they would be, what is it when they send their relatives to prison? And so we told them they can always excuse themselves from jury. And so there were other things, that's just one instance, but there are other things that they didn't want to vote because of fear. Now there is no fear. They're proud to vote. And it's exciting on election day because we all come forward, we're united, and we feel together, and we feel strong. And I think it really gives Native American people a power that we didn't have before.
Whatever your political beliefs are, whatever you, however you, once you step into that voting booth, I believe that, just like my father used to say, don't complain if you don't vote. If your candidate doesn't win, and you didn't vote because out of apathy or whatever, if you didn't vote and they're not doing a good job, don't complain.